Joining us now is Florida Congressman and incoming National Security Advisor Mike Walz. He is the first combat decorated Green Beret ever elected to Congress. Congratulations, sir, on your new appointment. National Security Advisor is a tremendous job. It's going to see you working every single day, just down the hall, maybe 100 feet or so from the Commander-in-Chief. So let's go ahead and dive right into foreign policy, the big topics of the day. President Biden, as you know, this week approved Ukraine's use of U.S.-made long-range missiles in Russia, which they immediately deployed. Russia then responded by using a new kind of experimental ballistic missile with multiple warheads. Take a listen to the Pentagon.
This was a new type of lethal capability that was employed on the battlefield. So that's certainly of concern to us.
The modern air defense systems in the world and the anti-missile defenses created by the Americans in Europe do not intercept such missiles.
Congressman, was this a good move by the Biden team this week, and how concerned are you about this new Russian weapon on the battlefield?
Well, thanks, Jillian. Thanks for having me on. Look, this is a clear escalation, and the concern has been, where is this escalation going? This was in response to, in large part, to North Korea sending troops. We've now responded by allowing these strikes deeper into Russia. I want to be clear that they are hitting things like supply depots and airfields and pushing the Russian offensive back. They're not going all the way to Moscow or St. Petersburg. But where is all of this escalation going? Now, South Korea is talking about somehow getting involved. And President Trump has been very clear about the need to end this conflict. And so what we're need to be discussing is who's at that table, whether it's an agreement, an armistice, how to get both sides to the table, and then what's the framework of a deal. And that's what we'll be working with this administration till January and then beyond. And I also want to be clear on one thing, Jillian. Jake Sullivan and I have had discussions. We've met. For our adversaries out there that think this is a time of opportunity, that they can play one administration off the other, they're wrong. And we are hand in glove. We are one team with the United States in this transition.
That is good to hear, certainly. The President Biden, also seemed to reverse one of his own policies this week when he authorized Ukraine to use anti-personnel landmines in the ongoing ground war. He is getting fierce pushback now from human rights groups who are saying these landmines are now going to lie in wait to kill and maim civilians for years to come. Take a look at this from Amnesty International. One of their top officials says it is devastating and frankly shocking that President Biden made such a consequential and dangerous decision just before his public service legacy is sealed for the history books. What do you think?
Well, these mines are the type that you can turn on, turn off. They're smart mines. But at the same time, it is a step towards somewhat solidifying the lines. And we also needed to stop Russian gains. So there's a number of factors involved there. But again, one side escalating, the other side escalating. This needs to be within a broader framework to end this conflict. It is, Jillian, it is just an absolute meat grinder of people and personnel on that front. It is more like World War I trench warfare. President Trump is incredibly concerned about the carnage that is taking place there. And again, how do we restore deterrence and how do we bring peace? We met with the European NATO Secretary General. The Europeans will clearly be a key part of that. All of our allies and partners need to be carrying this burden going forward. And of course, our energy policy will be a key component with Governor Bergrum and his National Energy Council, and how the United States is blessed with, as the president said, with oil and gas that we can be using not only to our economic advantage here at home, but as a leader around the free world.
Surprisingly, we have not heard from the president-elect himself on this escalation in Russia's war in Ukraine this week. I say surprisingly only because he tends to weigh in on pretty much everything these days, either in person or on social media. Do you know what his reaction is?
Well, the president-elect has been very concerned about the escalation and where it's all going. If North Korea has made this move, we have made a move. Russia has now responded. Iran is involved. South Korea is thinking about getting involved. Our allies have now, extended the range of their missiles as well. So we need to bring this to a responsible end. We need to restore deterrence, restore peace, and get ahead of this escalation ladder rather than responding to it.
So on that note, as you well know, let's turn to Israel real quick. The Biden team has always insisted that a negotiated end to the war in Gaza is the only way forward. But we also know that the president-elect and his top advisors often feel that these sort of swift military victories are the better way to bring about the ends of wars. How do you see the conflict in Gaza and more broadly in the Middle East coming to a close?
Well, look at the strength and the grit that the Israelis and Prime Minister Netanyahu has shown. Hezbollah with the pager and walkie-talkie operation and ongoing strikes on their leadership is completely on their back foot, not only from a military standpoint, but from an economic standpoint as well. Hamas has been devastated. Iran is incredibly exposed at this point. So I think now is a moment to craft some type of arrangement that doesn't just put a pause for future October 7th, truly brings stability to the Middle East, sets the stage for what we saw just a few years ago with the Abraham Accords. I mean, Jillian, we had peace deals being signed on the White House lawn just 4 years ago. Look at where we are today. I am confident President Trump and his leadership and the team that he is putting around him will get us back to that point in pretty short order.
I want to ask you about the NSC, the National Security Council in particular, which you are about to helm. In any given administration, it tends to have between a couple of hundred, maybe 400 officials on the staff. Not very big, but has an outsized role in policymaking in Washington, determining U.S. foreign policy across the globe. What's your, coming in on January 20th, what is your number one top policy proposal that you're going to be focused on?
Well, I'll just tell you from my approach. I mean, President Trump has a mandate to execute these policies that he has outlined and to continue the great policies he had in his first term. I think in the past, too many people have tried to kind of conform the system or have tried to kind of conform him to the system. I'm going to conform the system to the best I can to his style, to his decisions, and to his mandate, number one. Number two, for example, we were just talking about the Middle East. Well, a key component of that are Americans being held hostage, and we need to start imposing costs for those that hold hostages rather than reacting and seeing benefit. And number three, the border, the Western Hemisphere, working with that team to get it under control. The cartels need to be on notice. Mexico and our partners have to take some ownership here. And then broadly in the Western Hemisphere, we have the energy, the food supply, the critical minerals that we need to keep our economy the most powerful it is in the world. And finally, on China, that is going to be much more of a conversation about the strength of our economy, the strength of our markets, how to bring those supply chains back home, from critical minerals to energy to pharmaceuticals in that competition. And President Trump is going to lead the way on all of those issues.
Well, sir, we certainly look forward to seeing you at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue come the new year. Thank you for taking time with us, your first Sunday Show interview since the nomination. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Jillian.